I see dead people. Modern vampires of the season. Until blood.
Hey, what's up? This is Gabi from Team Death Note. I'm here to do a deck profile of Death Star Vader Quintessence Dragon. Alright, let's start this off. Now, for the starter, we're going to have Evolution Star Vader Carbon. You run one Evolution Star Vader Carbon. He is the new starter from set GBT 05? Yeah, okay, his effect is Act Ability. You put him into the soul. If your opponent has a lock card on the field, you can search your deck for any Star Vader grade 1 or less and superior card it on the field that's not named Evolution Star Vader Carbon, which is himself. Okay, now this go good because this he's kind of like a commodity maker. He sets you up for the Limit Break Enabler. He sets you up for Palladium. Any type of grade 1 or 0 Star Vader that you need, he can get you it. Okay, now going to the grade 3s, we run 4 Break Rise, Infinite Zero Dragon. He's kind of the star of this deck. Now, his effect, he's a Break Ride. He came out in TD11 a couple of years back ago. He's a decent Break Ride. When you Break Ride on top of him, you get to, your Vanguard gets plus 10,000. You lock somebody in the front, somebody in the back. For the other grade 3, we're going to run 3 Dark Zodiacs. He's pretty decent. You get to Omega Lock your opponent's field by discarding one of him or one of his Legion mate. You get to lock one up front and back. And by counterblasting one, when you perform Legion, you get to Omega Lock your opponent's field. Now, for one of the finishers, it's Star Vader Nebula Lord Dragon. Counterblast 2, locks the one at the back. You gain plus 3,000 for every card that your opponent has locked in your front row. So, if your opponent has 5 lock cards in the field, your front row gets plus 15,000. Which that is pretty amazing to end the game. You just push for the win. Now going to grade 2s. This where the grade 2 lineup gets tricky. We run 3 of the mate. His effect is when he hits the Vanguard, you Soul Blast 1, you check top 5 cards of your deck for anybody in your Vanguard circle, you put it to your hand. Second grade 3, I just bumped him down to 3. Is Chain Battle Star Vader Technicium. Technicium's effect is you discard a card from hand, he gains plus 5,000. If he hits the Vanguard, you get to Soul Charge a card and unflip a card. He's not GB effect or anything, so he's very good. One of the very important grade 2s of this deck. Now we go to 2 Sunset Edge Dustblade. Why Dustblade? Dustblade, he's good because when you boost with him, you counterblast 1, you lock a grade 2 or less on the field. Now, we have 2 Star Vader Cold Death Dragon. People don't like this card because he's 8K based, but when your opponent doesn't want to call out rear guards, he makes you call rear guards out for them. So your opponent, once he hits the field, your opponent has a lock card on the field, you counterblast 1. Your opponent hits the top card of his or her deck and calls it out as locked. So you're setting yourself up for Nebula, setting yourself up for Omega Locks. You just set yourself up just to basically dominate the field. And the card that we attack one of is Star Vader Colony Maker. If your opponent has a lock card on the field, you counterblast 1 when she gets called to rear guard circle. So it's a deck for a grade 1 or less Star Vader, and you call it to the field. Okay, so that's 11 grade 2s. Now going to the grade 1s, we go with 4 Perfect Guards. It's not the Unflipper, it's not the Star Vader one. Why? It's the only dude I had up in here. I don't like seeing her sometimes, but she gets the job done, so it's a whatever. Now we run 2 of the Limit Break Enablers. 2, because you have Colony Maker that can search him out, and you have the new starter that can search him out. Now we run 3 Palladiums for when your opponent's cards gets unlocked. If you didn't get to Omega Lock them, you get to Counterblast 1, Soul Charge, and relock it. We run 2 of the new guy, which is, what's the name? Clear Out Star Vader Buromin. His effect, if your opponent has a lock card on the field, at the end of your battle phase, at the end of your turn, you get to retire this unit, search your deck for Infinite Zero Dragon, and call it. Ride it as the Vanguard as rest. So you search for the break ride. 2 stride enablers. That will be 13 grade 1s. Now for the triggers, we run 7 crits. We run 3 of the new crit, which is good. His name is Star Vader
4.
Paradigm Shift Dragon. 4 of him. His effect, his act ability, you put him on top of your deck. If your opponent has a lock card in the field, you choose one of your opponent's back row and you lock it. Then you shuffle your deck. So he keeps recycling, he keeps on locking. You keep drive checking crits, that's good. And now we run 5 draws. We run 4 of the beloved child of Super String Theory because she's a good soul charger and 3,281, so she's good to go. And we run 4 heals. Don't run this heal, run the Star Vader heals. I don't have them, but yeah, Star Vader heals is the best. Okay, that's for the triggers lineup. They pretty much explained themselves. And going to the strides. 4 quintessence, 4 Death Star Vader quintessence dragon. When you stride on top of the break ride, you get to lock a card up front, a card up back by Counter Blasters 1 and Soul Blaster 1. If you have 4 damage or more, not limit break, but 4 damage or more, those cards get Omega locked. We run 2 of the Big Crunch Dragon, Counter Blast 1, Omega lock field. We run 1 of the Genesis Dragon Judgment Messiah. When he hits, you lock or unlock. And we run 1 Nebula Dragon Maximum Seal Dragon. For that what if your opponent has 5 cards, he gains plus 5,000 for every lock card that your opponent has on the field. He could be swinging for 50-some thousand sometimes if your opponent has 5 lock cards on the field. It's 25 plus the 15 is 40 on top of the 11k Vanguard. It's 51 and the 7k boost is 58,000. And get right there. And go into the different ways of locking of this deck. I'm about to show you right now. Okay, let's say you have the Vanguard out there, and as booster, you would like to have the Limit Break Enabler. So, if you break ride infinite on top of infinite, you lock 2 front and back. You dump a card from hand and you stride. You can lock front and back again, so that's 4 people that's being locked. If you have the crit trigger in hand, you put them back on top of the deck, and you lock the last back card. So that's 5 cards being locked right there. Another way of doing it is that you can break ride Dark Zodiac on top of Infinite Zero Dragon. Limit Break kicks in, you lock front and back. His effect kicks in, you Persona Blast him, you lock front and back. Perform Legion, Counter Blast 1, Omega lock the field. You can have the crit trigger in hand to lock that last 5 cards, and your opponent has all 5 cards Omega locked on the field. Another way to finish is Nebula Lord Dragon. You break ride, lock front and back. You can have, where's the grade 2? You can have either 2 Dust Blade to lock the other 2, and 1 critical to lock the last back one, or you can summon out Cold Death Dragon if your opponent doesn't have many cards on the field, so you force him to take top 2 cards and lock it. And then you do the crit trigger to lock the back. So that's 5 cards being locked. Either way, this deck can easily lock all 5 rear guards, and at the end they'll swing. You will want to finish the game with Nebula. Ideally, you know, he's the one that breaks through those numbers and boosts up your rear guards as well. If your opponent has 5 lock cards on the field and you have 2 technicians, let's say you have any type of boosters, really doesn't really matter. You gain plus 10. Your whole front row gains plus 15. So Nebula Lord Dragon, the plus 15, he'll be at 26. Plus the 10 of the break ride, he'll be at 36. And a 7k boost, he'll be at 43,000 swinging with the Vanguard. This dude, they gain plus 15. If you discard a Star Vader from hand, they gain plus 5 each. So he'll be 15, 24 plus the 5 is 29, and 7K boost is 36. So you'll have two 36 columns and the Vanguard swinging for 40 something. So yeah, that's basically the game. This is the deck. This is Gabi from Team Death Note. I hope you like, enjoy, and subscribe. Peace out.